Welcome to the Flow Network.
I want to start off this video by saying I am so fucking happy to be in this time period where spring is not near, but it is motherfucking here. Spring has arisen, regardless of when they say the equinox is or when the solstice officially is. I think it's like March 21st or something. I don't care about that. It's green and it is serene, and I'm happy to be here. And it's warm as hell outside, and the plants are blooming. Life is blooming. I see insects. I see flying fairies. The sun is radiating. Yeah, it's a beautiful time. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be in this moment right now. This is how I feel every year around like the end of February or the beginning of March. You know, but it feels like spring has come a lot earlier this year. I don't know what it is. We're in the end of February, and I'm already seeing the white willow trees. I think they're willows. Y'all know it's trees I'm talking about. The ones that are white, they bloom first, and they smell weird to other people, but they smell amazing to me. So pussy willows. They call them pussy willows. I love the smell of it. Maybe because y'all know why. Yeah, it's a beautiful time period. I wanted to just express in this video the realization I had about like my level of sensitivity. I wanted to discuss my level of sensitivity. I had a realization about how much of an empath, I'm always doing this, how much of an empath I actually am. And I put the quotations up because it's just like, I feel really uncomfortable with labels. And not even just to be uncomfortable with labels, but they really just don't feel right. It's like deep down in my soul, they don't feel right. Even if it's a diagnosis, a clear diagnosis of who I am and what I have going on, I still don't want to be going around in my conversations or in my day-to-day and just be like, yes, as an empath, I'm this, I'm that. Or, you know, being an empath, I do realize, like, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Or even like as a vegan, you know, as a vegetarian, I must say that, like, being non-binary, I think that I understand. Like, I just don't want to do it. No matter how much it resonates with me, I don't want to claim anything besides Sunset Trei, and even that is that's a character as well, which is it's a genuine being, you know what I mean? Like, I watch the sunset, I am Trei, but you know, still titles, still labels. That's the only one I can really fully accept, and even being detached from that when necessary. But it was a video I watched from Mariam Hasna. She was talking about how empaths are really sensitive, and in some things, like little specific things like chemical smells, for example, like bleach or something like that, or environments with lots of people, crowds of people, can easily overwhelm their nervous system. That's what I was going for. She had propelled people to ask them what are the things that are naturally off-putting to them. Just naturally, not the things that they're judgmental about, but things that are outside of like their control, that feel very inorganic to their spirit. And I had to really ask myself, because there's so many things it's so many different environments and things that I don't like to put myself into, or so many different situations that I wouldn't want to put myself in, that just feel very distortive of my frequency, or just don't resonate with me. I don't feel right to my being. Something about it just doesn't seem enjoyable. And I'm actually going to give some examples. And I had to just come to the terms after assessing these different examples, realizing like, damn, I'm not like everyone else. Like, these things are not enjoyable to me like most people would enjoy these things. Even people in my generation, even people who are very sensitive beings, which I know a lot of people who are empaths, even if they don't define themselves as that, like they're very sensitive beings. Most people in our generation are. You just never know what comprises of your experience that you are today. You never know what makes up the person that you are right now. You never know what happened in your past lives or what experiences you've had in your childhood that you may be forgotten, or you know, what star systems you resonate with, or what places in the galaxy you came from before traveling here. You never know. But I have some abnormalities for sure. I have some irregularities, abnormalities. I have some of those. Let's start with concerts. Actually, let's not start with concerts. Excuse the blinking light once again. I don't know why it does it, but as you see, it stops when I do that, but it is what it is. Let's start with horror movies instead, because this was probably the biggest one that I actually left out of the video, but it's the most effective. It's the best example of me being too sensitive to tolerate something. I don't not watch horror movies or scary movies because I'm too scared to watch them. They're just like, they make me feel fearful or anything like that. It's not that. It's just more so that they are not reflective of the world in which I envision wanting to be a part of. Like Saint Germain told me before, everything that we see, that we gaze upon, that we experience, that we consume, whether it's food or media, it is a direct reflection of us. We are not separate from our experiences. And I don't need to consume these like creepy ass images and like senseless killings and like blood coming out of people's eyes and shit like that. Like I don't need to see that. That's not reflective of the reality in which I want to be a part of. You know, I don't even understand why I would like want to process that into my own consciousness. I get like for the thrill of or something, but my heart really feels too pure to process that type of shit, like to consume it and get some type of enjoyment or thrill out of it. And that's not saying that yours isn't. If you enjoy it, that's you. Do your thing. By all means, have fun. My mind doesn't have a tolerance for it. My spirit doesn't have a tolerance for it. It's like, get that fucking shit out of here. That's not for you. There's no intention, conscious, purposeful intention, and consuming sick images. Because if we saw that shit in real life, you're gonna be like, well, what the fuck, what's going on? But it's still very much the same thing. Like I think your body doesn't really know the difference. It's like you're triggering yourself intentionally for like a thrill or for fun, you know. But you know, I don't know, it's not for me. That was like the biggest example I left out. And the next few examples are not as crucial, but proceeds video. I don't have desires to go to concerts. People be asking me like, oh, do you want to buy tickets to go see these people or this person? I don't want to name any artists because no disrespect, I actually like these artists a lot. I just don't want to see them on stage or be in like groups of people, maybe hundreds or thousands of people just around me and me feeling very like confined. I don't know, I think it's just something about being in the thickness of that much human consciousness that makes my energy kind of naturally deplete a little bit. And I love people. I'm a huge people's person. So I'm not that type of person to be like, ew, people stay away from me. But you know, being around a lot of people or a large group of people, whether it's like I'm on the beach or I'm at a concert or a crowded movie theater, yeah, anything. I don't want to be in crowds of people, no matter how extroverted I am. I'm very extroverted, I'm very outgoing, but when it's like an event, I don't even like going to events. I had to make a quick disclaimer because I realized in this stream of consciousness I was being very strict, you know, just like, I don't like these things. And it's not just like that black and white, that I just don't like them. It's not that I don't like them, it's that I enjoy them to a very small degree that I would never experience them if it wasn't for some outside influence inviting me to do them, is what I'm saying. It's just like I have to like muster up the courage to do these things like concerts and events, for example. It would never be my own personal idea to go out and do these things because of the groups of people and because of just like all of the energy and the overstimulation happening around me, is what I'm saying. But when I'm there, you probably wouldn't even notice because I naturally just make the most out of any situation I'm in, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Move forward with that disclaimer. I don't know why. I just don't like going to events. I don't want to go to things and look at things and have people want to sell me things, and then this leads me to like not wanting to go to stores. Being in stores is just not fun. That shit is just not fun for me. I don't like walking into a building and just looking at materials. Shopping is not a therapy for me. Retail therapy is just something that I don't even believe is possible. I'm looking at a bunch of things with no lively vibration. They're not vital. They don't do anything. They're just like sitting there and looking stale. And then it's like carrying materials, bringing them home. You know, now I gotta worry about what I'm gonna do with them when it's time for me to move, or I'm on my nomadic shit. I gotta pack it and find out what to do with it and put it in storage. And I was in the mall with my friend not too long ago, and she was looking for a leather jacket, and of course I was just accompanying her, walking around. We're trying to find a leather jacket, going into different stores and whatnot. And usually I'm in this situation often because I hang out with a lot of girls, and women are always going shopping. And I was in the mall for about an hour or so, and I started to physically feel symptoms that were telling me I gotta get the fuck out the mall. That's what they were. It was just too much advertisement, too much, hey, buy this, look at this, shop here, you need this, consume this, purchase this. That shit is not enjoyable. Even if it's a thrift shop. Unless I am walking into a store with something in mind specifically, and I know what I'm finna get, and I have a purpose for being there, it's something about the environment of a bunch of materials that instantly makes me not happy. Like when people are hoarders, for example, and you walk in their house and they just have a bunch of unnecessary shit, and you're just looking around like, what is all of this shit for? It's not pleasant to look at. And I know people are wondering, what the fuck does this have to do with being sensitive? It's the vibrations, bro. It's just the vibrations of the environment that I'm sensitive to. I need something with some life, something with some uplifting energy, you know what I mean, to match my uplifting energy. If not, then I gotta, I can't spend too much time in that. It's just, nah. I used to be heavily materialistic when I was a kid. I wanted all the Jordans. I wanted all the fresh shit. I wanted to be the flyest nigga in school. And was. I wanted to be fresh. I love that shit. You know what I mean? But it was a time period when I had a spiritual awakening that I really just became more in tune with that of which is natural, that of which actually has like some type of substance for me, that of which I can find spirit and God in, is what started to resonate with me. Like the closest thing to it. I think you can find spirit and God in everything, but for me it was the purest examples, the most refined examples of where you can find God, where you can find the divine, where you can find spirit, that started to resonate for me, and that started to be the most attractive thing to me. So again, like, with as many women as I hang around, I'm naturally going to be brought into stores sometimes. Not unless I really don't want to, but sometimes that's gonna happen. And I try to give it a shot. I give it my best attitude, give it my best foot forward, and try not to be such a type of person, but eventually I'm gonna walk out the store. Eventually I'm gonna walk out the store and I'm gonna need to stare at a tree or gaze at the sun. That's just me. That's just what I need. Fights on my timeline. If you retweet fights on my timeline, you're getting blocked, you're getting removed, and you're getting reported. It's something heinous that happens to my spirit when I see my brothers and sisters fighting each other. It hurts my fucking soul. That shit hurts. I don't know what it is. I mean, I do know what it is. Like, obviously, like, you know, I just want to see everybody holding hands and loving each other and being in communion, and I want that across the whole planet. So to see us like really going at war with each other and like having combat and like physically trying to violently destruct one another is very painful for me to see. Like, that shit hurts. That shit hurts my soul. Or maybe I just got PTSD from growing up in the hood. I don't know. But I'd like to just think that I'm just so warm-hearted and such a compassionate human being and such a sensitive soul that I can't see people fight each other, which it may be that, but whatever it is, I don't fucking like it. I don't like seeing it. That shit bothers the fuck out of me. Also, I remember when I was like watching this boxing match at my uncle's house, and it was a crowd of, not a crowd of people, it was a room full of people watching these two men try to knock each other unconscious. And I'm the only one looking around like, why are we cheering this on? Why are we rooting for another man to knock another man's head off? Like, why is this happening? Just the concept of that is unbelievable. That we're like, yeah, go get, yeah, knock him out. Knock him unconscious for 10 seconds to where he can't stand up. What? That is insane. This is what we do as human beings. This is what we look at for entertainment. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. I mean, I don't feel nearly as bad about that, because I guess it's a sport and these two people agree to it and they're not even really angry with each other, and there's technique and there's strategy and training involved. And then I used to box too when I was a kid, so I get it. And I kind of still like to box. I actually had me boxing one of my niggas on the channel, and I'm trying to talk like I'm just wondering why are we doing that when I fucking box all the time. But no, it's not okay. It still don't make sense. It still doesn't make sense. That is different from like genuinely fighting someone, because there's a different energy behind it. But still, it's still both ridiculous concepts. Don't retweet no fights on my Twitter line, on my timeline in general. You getting blocked. Loud cars. Let's talk about it. Something about a motorcycle just ripping holes through the peaceful state of silence is so irking to my spirit. It's something very distortive about that frequency, or like a nigga who just has a loud engine for the sake of his ego, so he can just have the whole block hear his car. Like fucking sicken me. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting sound. I don't want to hear it. Keep that shit to yourself. You fucking up the whole vibes of the whole community. It's your loud ass car. I accept it for what it is, but it does something to my center a little bit. It just kind of takes me out of my calm and my peace, just a tad bit. Car fumes. I swear, I think I'm like one of the only few people who just hate to smell cars and whatever chemical it is that they fume out of their exhaust pipes. I don't know if it's carbon monoxide or whatever. I think I have like a video of me walking down the streets of Costa Rica on this channel, and like I was covering my nose, and nobody else seemed to give a fuck, but it bothered the fuck out of me. And I think the cars in Costa Rica aren't as advanced, so they smell even worse. You can literally see the black smoke coming out of those vehicles.
Her WhatsApp, nigga, her shit say Queen Braid. I said, oh yeah, I know I'm in good hands. The girl, she said she take longer, but she's like real precise with her shit. And she fine, so I wouldn't mind letting her play in my hair all day.
Just pollution to the nose, pollution to my sacred body. So that's not enjoyable. Very sensitive to those smells and to those frequencies in general. And also, yeah, you know, like loud machines in general. Loud machines, loud artificial creations, bulldozers and shit. Like, it's just like, it's just too much. It's too aggressive of an energy. I don't like aggressive energies in general. I don't like when people speak aggressively, when people, you know, just have an aggressive energy and are like always angry and aggressive. Just because I'm expressing this in video doesn't mean that I'm thinking about this. This is a feeling that I have. I'm just expressing it in video because it's being broken down in order to share with the world. But I'm not overthinking about walking into a building and being in whatever facility. But it's a feeling. It's not fun, especially on a beautiful day. Like, you know, sun shining, birds are chirping. What the fuck? I don't want to walk into a building for an activity to do something fun for dates. You know, like, I like raw, authentic spaces. And obviously, like, nature is very raw and it's the most authentic thing you'll find, which is why I like being in nature with people and having very raw interactions and raw engagements, you know, where we can't hide behind our looks and the activities and the distractions around it. It's like just raw, face-to-face human interaction in a raw environment. But that's not to say I'm against doing those things. It's just not. You wouldn't catch me inviting someone to do those things. I'm usually the one being invited to do them, and I usually make the most out of it. The only thing I really do like going into something or going into a building to do is going out to eat. That's like my type of enjoyment. Going inside to get some food, that's pleasurable. That's pleasant. Some fine dining, I love it. Some wine, that's nice. I'll take that. I don't know what it is. My friend Cameron said that my Taurus is in Venus, so I like to go out to eat. And while I can accept that, I still need to know why having a Taurus in Venus means you like to go out to eat. And then also, even furthermore, if people say, well, Taurus rules this or Venus rules this, I also need to know why it rules that. I'm not just the type of person to be like, oh, this just rules this and that's just what it is. There's a reason why it rules that. If Saturn rules economics and the system we're in, I need to know why Saturn rules economics and the system that we're in, and money and finances and shit. I need to know why it rules that. I can't just accept it for what it is. But that's a side note. And to touch even more on the crowds of people thing, I was just in a theater by myself watching Avatar 2. And that was the most impeccable, epic movie experience I've ever had in my life. Because I definitely don't enjoy crowded theaters. So to have a theater completely by myself, as if I rented that bitch out alone for my own enjoyment, was absolutely amazing. I was in there in solitude, just fully processing the movie. I got to sit with it in meditation. And with Avatar being like my favorite movie of all time, or one of my favorite movies of all time, and getting to see the second one just by myself and being able to take up as much space as possible, I was so fucking happy. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, that was fun. That was lots of fun. I found so much bliss and so much spiritual fulfillment from just sitting in front of the sun and just gazing at all of God's creations and being one with God's creations. That shit has filled me with bliss. So everything else is like, yeah, it's cute, it's fun. It's like, oh yeah, like, let's do this cute thing. Okay, cool. I need to be learning something or creating something to feel like it's worth it. If not, I can just be creating something in my own space, or be outside appreciating God's beauty, appreciating nature for what it is. To highly sensitive beings, just be aware of where you feel most at ease, where you feel most pleased in your spirit,